The New York Sports Machine presents the Shootout with Dr. K. Beto behind the net, swings it in front, he scores! Beto! Beats him up, goes the waiting is over, and this one will last a lifetime. 3, 2, 1, here's Dr. K.
Well, here we are. It is April 15th, and it is time for the Stanley Cup playoffs. They start tonight. A bunch of games. Excuse me one sec. A bunch of games in action tonight. Bunch of teams in action tonight, including the New York Islanders get started against the Washington Capitals. That game at 7 o'clock. Capitals have home ice, so they open up in Washington for 2, then in New York for 2, and then 1-1-1 if need be. I have my associate at home ready to click on the purchase button for Game 4 with a win tonight. So it is an exciting time in the hockey world, and especially if you're a fan of one of the teams that's in the playoffs. So they get underway tomorrow. The Rangers start tomorrow at home against Pittsburgh at the Garden, and they have home ice as well. So it's about that time. It's that stressful time of year again where hockey fans from across the globe are nervous and they're scared, and the teams are just getting ready to go. So we'll bring you some lineup information for the Islanders tonight. They start in about 5 hours. So 5 hours from now, playoff hockey will be underway. So it looks like Grabner is in tonight. Halak, obviously, in goal. Same D as the last game of the season at Nassau Coliseum. So you'll see guys like Wisniewski, Hamonic. No Hamonic is what I meant to say. Travis hurt his knee in the second to last game of the year. That shutout win for New York. So it looks like he's going to be out for an undetermined amount of time. So you've got to hope that he can get back into the lineup for New York as soon as possible. But the fact that it takes a Hamonic injury to get a guy like Calvin DeHaan in the lineup for the playoffs is a little bewildering to me. I'm not a Cappy supporter. I'm not a Cappy, not a fire Cappy guy. I just go with the coach. You go as the coach goes. And obviously, you can question anybody's lineup decisions at any point in the season, but to see a guy like Calvin DeHaan, who's been a mainstay on the Islander blue line for this year, not in the lineup if everybody was healthy over, maybe a guy like Brian Straight is a little back and forth for me. I don't really get that. But either way, same D for the Islanders, Halak in goal. Forwards include Michael Grabner tonight. Forward decision still to be determined, so you'll probably hear about it in about an hour. Probably about 3:30, you'll hear the final roster decisions. Guys like Matt Martin, Franz Nielsen, no update on them for tonight's game. So you're hoping, if you're an Islanders fan, you're hoping that they are able to crack the lineup today and get into Game 1 against the Capitals. So let's break it down a little bit. Let's talk about this series. I mean, the Islanders and the Capitals. Capitals went on a tear at the end of the season, marching their way into second place in the Metropolitan. Islanders fall to third, so the Capitals have home ice. And we'll start from the back and work our way out. Braden Holtby versus Yaroslav Halak is, I think, and I'm trying to get rid of most of my bias here for this conversation, but I think you've got to give it to Yaro Halak. You remember a few years back when he played in that Montreal series, he was lights out. He is a stonewall in the playoffs. Just a guy with major playoff experience, but you can't overlook Braden Holtby. Don't get me wrong. When I say it's a victory for Halak, I don't say it in a Holtby's got no chance of competing with him. I mean, Holtby can play. And we saw that 3 years ago, when they played the Rangers. Holtby stood on his head and was the only reason that the Capitals were in that series. So both of these goalies have playoff experience. Both of them are able to stand on their head when need be. I give it to Halak. But we shall see. Defensively, both of these teams are not super sound defensively. They use their quick defense or what they hope to be their quick defense to translate into offense. And that's going to be the fun part about this series is it's going to be back and forth play the entire time. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch if you're not a fan of one of these teams because both of these fan bases are going to be panting for the entire 60 minutes of hockey and trying to catch their breath during the intermission. So it's going to be a fun series, and that's what they use their defense for, the transition into a quick offensive turnaround. That's what their defensive plan is for both of these teams over the course of the whole season. Offensively, the Capitals are so good. You've got a guy like Alex Ovechkin. You've got a guy like Nick Backstrom, two of them top point scorers in the league. They're going to be difficult to stop, and especially if you put them on the power play. But the argument that the power play is that much better, that the series is just automatically going to go to Washington, is ridiculous. Obviously, the Islanders finished, I believe, 27th in the league in penalty kill percentage over the course of the season. Not a great job. But they were 30th after the All-Star break. And at that point, it's very difficult to make up ground in special teams over the latter half of a season. They finished 27th, and over the last 3 or 4 weeks, they were one of the best penalty kills in the league. They have certainly turned it around. It used to be an automatic goal when the Islanders went to the penalty kill, but not anymore. It's a team that can play on the penalty kill. They finally got their personnel worked out. They finally got their system worked out. Halak has been making more saves with the man disadvantage, and the defense seems to be doing pretty well penalty kill wise over the last few weeks. So yes, they have Alex Ovechkin. Yes, he is going to shoot as hard as he can, and he's probably going to score a few power play goals over the course of the series. But you cannot put the fate of the series based on a penalty kill that, that has been phenomenal over the last few weeks. So, again, penalty kill, power play, special teams not going to decide this series. Goaltending is going to decide this series. Offense is going to decide this series. Who is able to beat that goaltender that's standing on his head? Because both of these goalies are capable of doing so, and I believe both of them will. My pick is the Islanders in 7. It's going to be a series of sweat for the fans and for the players. It's going to be an emotional series. Two teams that don't have too much of a hatred towards one another, but who can find it really quick. Two passionate teams, two passionate fan bases. Obviously, Islander fan base worried about going to their last game in the Nassau Coliseum before moving to Brooklyn next year. It's an emotional time for everybody involved. Everybody just wants that big silver cup, man. That's all they want, and they will do whatever it takes to get there, and that's what you heard Johnny Boychuk say yesterday. Somebody who is going to bring an intangible experience to this Islanders blue line over the next few weeks. Johnny Boychuk acquired, obviously, in the preseason. Just a guy, Stanley Cup champion. He knows what it takes. Nick Leddy, Stanley Cup champion. He knows what it takes. So these guys are going to be important for this young Islanders squad moving forward, especially in round number 1, where you've got to take care of your business. You've got to survive in advance, and then from there, you start to play Islander hockey and see what you can do. So my pick, again, Islanders in 7. We'll do a full playoff bracket shootout in just a minute, so stay tuned for that. We will link it together. We'll try and set them up in the same way so you don't have to go clicking around. So Islanders Capitals open up tonight at 7. If you hear a scream from wherever you are, it's probably just me or another one of us really nervous and scared and dilapidated Islander fans. So we shall see you around, and we'll do a shootout bracket in just a second, so stick around. Kenny Reischmann on the Shootout. We'll see you next time.